TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations.
Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News. Israel continues to deepen its operational, tactical, and strategic successes against the Islamic Republic of Iran. China and Russia urge the United States to de-escalate the situation in the Middle East. U.S. President Donald Trump instructs his national security team to prepare to confront Iran. The IDF continues to operate on all fronts, deepening its operational, tactical, and strategic achievements against the Islamic Republic of Iran and its regional proxies. In the Gaza Strip, the IDF is ratcheting up pressure on the Islamist Hamas and its terror affiliates. Regrettably, it comes at a heavy toll.
IDF soldiers continue operating on all fronts, both in defense and offense. In Gaza, our forces are engaged in intense battles against terrorists. The forces are operating in the area with clear missions to achieve our objectives. Yesterday, First Sergeant Navel Esham of blessed memory fell in battle. He was 20 years old, a combat soldier in the Golani Brigade. And Captain in Reserve Tal Mavshevitz, 28 years old, Deputy Company Commander in the Golani Brigade. We share in the grief of the families in their time of sorrow. We mourn their loss and will continue to support them. This is another reminder of the heavy price we pay in this just war. This is a war for our future and the future of our children. Together, we will prevail.
Meanwhile, in Iran, the Israel Air Force intelligence apparatus and Israel's other defense organizations are dealing the Islamic Republic a heavy blow, with the newly appointed Ayatollah regime's military chief of staff eliminated merely 4 days after assuming office.
Overnight, following precise intelligence received by the Intelligence Directorate, we eliminated Ali Shadmani, the most senior military commander of the Iranian regime during the war. He was eliminated at the Iranian regime's headquarters in the center of Tehran. Shadmani served as the wartime chief of staff of the Iranian regime's armed forces and was the closest associate of Iran's supreme leader. Ali Shadmani was appointed to replace Ghulam Ali Rashid, the previous chief of staff, whom we also neutralized in the opening strike of the operation. Shadmani served in the role for only 4 days. He too was eliminated. We will relentlessly pursue our enemies through advanced intelligence capabilities, exploiting emerging opportunities, air superiority, and complex operational planning. Simultaneously, we continued striking targets in several areas across Iran. Last night, we struck surface-to-surface and surface-to-air missile launchers, UAV storage facilities, and missile production and storage sites.
With Israel's aerial superiority unmatched, the Ayatollah regime, despite extensive efforts, managed to launch merely 30 ballistic missiles toward Israeli territory.
This morning and overnight, approximately 30 missiles were launched toward the state of Israel. Most of the missiles were intercepted, but several impacts were identified. Your conduct in the home front is critically important. I repeat and emphasize, we cannot afford to be complacent. The Iranians still possess the capabilities and intent to strike Israel's home front. Adhere to the IDF Home Front Command's directives. These instructions save lives.
At one of the impacted locations, a densely populated civilian neighborhood, Israeli President Helsog visited the site, where he relayed a stringent message to the evil regime in Tehran.
What I've seen upstairs in the destroyed apartment is evil, pure evil in and of itself. And it's evil aimed at innocent civilians all over Israel. But I have news for the Iranian regime. You think you're going to tire us or make us fatigue? You're absolutely wrong. We're a very strong, resilient nation with very strong capabilities in all fields. I think you're feeling it out there in Iran. And I think the Iranian people are fed up and they want change, and so, of course, the entire region. We deserve change. Iran has been, for decades, spreading havoc and terror, radicalizing nations, creating an unstable atmosphere in so many places, having terror cells all over the world, and placing its proxies full of armament to its neck in order to annihilate Israel and, of course, rush to the nuclear bomb. Well, we don't intend to be the scapegoats again, and we are fighting as much as possible. And I call upon the leaders of the free world convening in Canada in the G7 summit. They all should stand up with us and make it clear two things absolutely must. Iran must not have any capability of nuclear weapons, and secondly, bring back our hostages as soon as possible, till the last one of them immediately. Thank you very much.
Meanwhile, at an Air Force base, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, accompanied by Defense Minister Israel Katz, commended Israel's heroic pilots for their amazing work.
The Israeli Air Force controls the skies of Tehran. This is a change to the entire campaign. We are on the way to achieving our two goals, elimination of the nuclear threat and elimination of the missile threat. When we control the skies of Tehran, we strike these targets, the regime's targets, in contrast to the criminal regime of Iran that targets our civilians and comes to kill children and women. We say to the citizens of Tehran, evaluate, and we act. We are on the way to achieving victory, and this thing is earned thanks to our heroic pilots, our wonderful ground crews, who are also doing amazing work. I salute you, all the citizens of Israel salute you, and I want to tell you, many around the world salute you and are impressed by you. This is a fundamental part of the hope for victory that we will achieve. Thank you, and with God's help, we will act and succeed, and continue until victory.
Meanwhile, in Tehran, the Ayatollah regime is relaying mixed messages. On the one hand, they are frantically relaying messages urging the international community to rein Israel in, while on the other hand, they refuse to accept President Trump's diplomatic overtures and are threatening Israel with devastating responses that, with God's help, have thus far failed to materialize.
The Iranian nation and its officials will not remain silent in the face of this crime. The Islamic Republic of Iran's legitimate and powerful response will make the enemy regret its foolish actions. As our great Imam said, whenever a flag falls from the hands of one commander, another capable commander will raise it and enter the battlefield. Just as the Islamic Republic of Iran has devoted all its efforts to peace and stability in the world and the region, and has proven its readiness for lengthy and confidence-building negotiations in pursuit of peace, it will also respond decisively to any aggression and will take firm action in legitimate defense of the country's territorial integrity.
Alongside regional actors such as Qatar, Oman, and Saudi Arabia, Iran's patrons, China and Russia, are trying to push for de-escalation before their ally succumbs.
We call on parties to immediately take measures to ease tensions as soon as possible, prevent the region from spiraling into greater turmoil, and create conditions for returning to the right track of resolving issues through dialogue and negotiation. If the conflict between Israel and Iran continues to escalate or even spill over, the other countries in the Middle East will inevitably bear the brunt. Foreign Minister Wangi has spoken to Iranian Foreign Minister Syed Abbas Araghchi and Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar on the phone, calling on both sides to resolve differences through dialogue. Relevant parties need to take measures immediately to put a brake on the escalation of the conflict and bring down the temperature of the situation. Over the past few days, Putin has held a number of important international telephone conversations. He spoke with Mr. Netanyahu, with Mr. Pezeshkian, and with President Trump. Russia remains ready to provide mediation services if necessary. In particular, the proposals that were previously outlined by President Putin in a previous conversation with President Trump remain on the table. In this regard, Russia's willingness and desire remain. If necessary, all this may be implemented.
Meanwhile, in Canada, on the sidelines of the G7 summit overnight, President Donald Trump highlighted Iran's refusal to accept a diplomatic solution was the root cause for the escalation.
Have you heard any signals or seen any messages from intermediaries that Iran wishes to de-escalate the conflict?
Yeah.
What have you heard? What have you heard from the Iranians?
They'd like to talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days, and they had 60 days, and on the 61st day, I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war, and they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
And what would you say, in your opinion, what would it take for the U.S. to get involved in this conflict militarily?
I don't want to talk about that.
And you mentioned Putin.
We've always supported Israel. We have for a long period of time, strongly, and Israel's doing very well right now.
It is important to highlight that President Trump instructed his national security team to prepare for a change in posture, with America's military assets operationally active over and around Iran in support of Israel's defenses. Major military movements are indicating preparatory work for an offensive campaign. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. As ever, I'd like to highlight that TV7 Israel is a non-profit ministry with all of our productions 100% based on donations and therefore so completely free of charge. Therefore, if you're blessed by the content of our programs, I would like to encourage you to donate. You can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Moreover, I'd like to encourage you, as ever, pray for the hostages who've now endured over 620 days in Hamas captivity. Pray also for the IDF, US, French, and British troops in line of duty. And also, please pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hessen wishing you an Erev Mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you during our next update. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.